Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Sebastian from Solo, and here is what I'll be focusing on today. So, here's the problem. If you're building anything with LLMs today, you're probably locked into maybe a single provider. You have one API key, one model, one point of failure. And when the provider has an outage or you hit a rate limit, like I've hit it with OpenClaw, or you just want to compare how Claude stacks up against ChatGPT on your actual production traffic, you're stuck writing custom routing logic in your application code. So today I'm going to show you how to solve that with Agent Gateway. And we're going to do two things. First, we're going to set up a multi-provider load balancing. So OpenAI and Anthropic. So behind a single endpoint. So Agent Gateway is going to use an algorithm called power of two choices, or P2C, which is smarter than a simple round robin. It picks two providers, checks their health, their latency, their current load, and routes to whichever one scores better. So you get this automatic failover and intelligence distribution without touching your application code. The second thing we're going to do once we're done and show how it's working, we're going to set up A and B testing, so traffic splitting, where about 80% of the requests are probably going to go to ChatGPT 4.0 as a stable production model, and then we'll set another 20% are going to go to ChatGPT 4.0 mini as a canary. And this is just a standard gateway API, well, more gateway API weighted routing. So no proprietary annotations, no SDK, nothing. And everything in this demo you'll have access to. The links to the repo below can run all on your kind cluster. So all the code in this repo is going to be linked in the description. So let's get into it. First thing we're going to do is pretty simple. We have this step-by-step guide that I've deployed that's going to outline all the configs. Step one is ensuring we have all the pre-flight checks installed. So I have kind, kubectl, helm, jQuery curl installed, and I already have my Anthropics and OpenAI keys inside my environment variables. So first thing we're gonna do, of course, let's create that kind cluster. So here's the command. And you can follow along if you want, because this shouldn't take too long to be able to test this out. So once the kind cluster is deployed, we can follow to the next step, which is installing the gateway APIs. So this allows us to define resources like gateway and HTTP route that Agent Gateway implements. Step 3A, so it's a two-step process. We're going to be installing the CRDs for the Agent Gateway backend. And then step 3B is we're going to be installing the Agent Gateway control plane and proxy onto our gateway. This takes about 10 seconds depending on your machine. So now that we have Agent Gateway deployed, kind cluster and Agent Gateway on, we can then go ahead and start configuring our pods. So let's just verify everything with the following command, kubectl get pods in my Agent Gateway namespace. Perfect, that's running great. So now that we have it running, the first thing we need to do is create a gateway. This gateway listens on port 80 and it's accepting routes from all the namespaces. So here's the command. The next step is we need to create the API keys. So I have the API keys in my environment variables. We need to provide those API keys to Kubernetes secrets. Agent Gateway is going to inject these into the outbound requests automatically as they're made. The next step is we're going to be creating a load balancer backend. So this is the logic, that P2C load balancing, where we select our providers, so ChatGPT and Anthropic's Claude, and we're going to select the models, and we're also going to apply the secrets key that we have, our API keys for these. So when we make a call, we don't need to provide that API key. Agent Gateway manages all that for us. The next step is to create our HTTP route. So /chat is going to be doing it. So if we make a curl or make a call, or our app or our agent makes a call towards our Agent Gateway proxy and they specify chat, then we're going to automatically load balance the request between Anthropics and ChatGPT. So let's test this out. What we're going to do is we're going to port forward on port 8080 and we're going to just send a curl loop towards our agent gateway to see what we get a reply back. And right away, we can see that with first request went to Claude, then ChatGPT, Claude, GPT. So we load balance that traffic across the actual request. So it doesn't matter from my app or my agent's perspective who the endpoint or who the frontier LLM model is, because I can load balance that request to it to get a response. So if for some reason Claude or ChatGPT goes down, your apps and your services don't fail. So with that, let's kind of jump to the next test, which is A and B testing. So let me just scroll up here. First thing we need to do is create two separate backends for traffic splitting. This time we're going to have a stable model or production model, GPT-4, and then our canary model, 4.0 mini. So we're going to create these two backends, as you can see in the configs. Then we're going to create that HTTP route, so /test, and we're going to do an 80-20 split. And hopefully when we run the test, we'll see something close to an 80-20 split. But it's pretty straightforward. We're referencing the two backends here, and we're giving them a weight of 20 and 80. So let's execute this. We'll just verify that everything is deployed in our deployment, and let's run the test. So once again, we're going to do that port forward, and I just have a curl on /test that automatically is just going to do this for us. Let's see if we get an 80-20 split. We might, there we go. We kind of got a 70-30 split, which is fine. So out of all our 10 requests, we roughly expect an 80-20 split, and here we got 7-3, which is great. But this kind of shows you that you have that capability within Agent Gateway to be able to do this. And that was the quick thing, right? 13 steps, some of the steps you can miss, and they're pretty quick to deploy. But if we kind of recap what we did here, we deployed Agent Gateway on a local kind cluster. We pointed it at both OpenAI and Anthropic. And with a single YAML, we got intelligent load balancing across both providers. We sent requests to a /chat or /chat endpoint and saw distribution, right? That being distributed between GPT 4.0 and Claude based on real-time health and latency scoring, right? No static weight, no round robin. Then we set up A and B testing with two scenarios or two separate backends on an 80-20 weight, right? Using HTTP route, the standard gateway API. So you saw roughly 7 out of the 10 or 8 out of the 10 requests hitting that stable model, and 3 hitting that canary model. Exactly what you'd use to evaluate a new model in production before maybe committing to a full rollout, right? Maybe you have specific requests go to a different model to act upon or to evaluate what you need to do. So the 4 takeaways from this demo and from the actual load balancing of LLMs is 1, P2C is smarter than round robin. It adapts to what's actually happening with your provider in real time. Second, multi-provider routing is one YAML away, right? You put the providers in the same group, Agent Gateway handles the rest. 3, A and B testing uses standard gateway APIs, weighted backends, right? Nothing proprietary here. And 4, everything we did here runs on the local kind cluster. You can clone the repo, set your API keys, and have this running in about 5 minutes. All the code, the step-by-step guide, the manual commands are in the repo link below. So if you want to try this yourself, everything is here, right? And if this was useful, hit the subscribe button and share. And I've got more Agent Gateway demos coming up. Thank you for watching.